Folks, welcome in. It is Wednesday, and it's time to talk some Major League Baseball games in progress already. A huge card to go over. Maybe we're starting to get back into some hitting weather after some really cold conditions over the past few days, but we are here to get it started. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Kyle Purviance, Jason Radowitz, along with Chelsa Messinger. It's Wednesday. It's time to talk some Major League Baseball. Let's get right into some of the day games taking place right now. Now, usually, you see the guy in the box below me smiling, right? Mets up 7-1 here, blowing away the Orioles. Huge comeback last night, but we are gamblers. This is day-to-day stuff. So I'm going to get right into it with Jason first here, taking a look at what you have on the day schedule today. What are we rooting for? What do we have early here, Jason?
Yeah, so right now I'm watching the Reds-Pirates game. I am on the Reds over 3.5 on the team total. That was at -145. So far, the game is 1-1 in that game between the Reds and the Pirates. Both starting pitchers are now out of the game. We're in the 6th inning, so hopefully we get some runs in this game. I'll take it from both sides. I don't even care at this point. Just want the Reds to score 4 runs there. And, of course, the Mets, they're looking really good, up 7-1. On Harvey Day, we knocked Harvey out at Citi Field, which was fun. But also, I've appreciated Harvey in his time with the Mets. So can't celebrate it too much.
Jason had those masks that one's crying and one is smiling at the same time. Here's Matt Harvey gets rocked out there at Citi Field. It is what it is here. Kyle, coming to you here first as well. Baltimore Orioles, New York Mets, Cincinnati Reds, Pittsburgh Pirates, Cubs, and Indians. Where are we going here with you today?
Well, I will say this. In that Cincinnati-Pittsburgh game, you've got 2 bullpens who aren't very good, especially the Reds, the second worst bullpen in the majors. I believe as of yesterday, let me double check that. Yep, still the second worst bullpen in the major league. So when you start getting these live totals, you start getting these 2.5s or these 1.5s and 2s, that's where I'd be jumping on because, look, even though that Pirates is a, at best double-A lineup out there today, they're facing an awful bullpen, so you might get a nice cheap number on those Pirates. The Reds let me down yesterday. I'm a little disappointed in the Reds. Of course, it's a bummer that another lefty, Barnhart, was not in that lineup this morning against the righty Cahill. But I would wait to get a nice value number on those Pirates and jump on that with that Reds bullpen.
Mama Williams out here in the chat box
I love
says,
it.
hey,
love
Batch, your son and I are listening at school. Now, also, I still read that and say, hey, Bach. And I say, who is Bach? And why do they call this guy Bach? Because it's actually Batch here. But that's a long-running joke here that we have here on the show. Chelsea, bring you into the conversation. 3 games already live on the card today. Mets rolling over the Baltimore Orioles. But close games here. Reds, Pirates. If we take a look at some live numbers here on the FanDuel Sportsbook, -122 as a favorite towards the Reds. And also, how about the Cubs here? Davey struggled for most of the year, had a decent start in his last time out. Looks like he's continuing that today. Was maybe going to get touched up in the first inning, got out of it. The Cleveland bats not able to hit. What are you looking at out of these 3 games here early, Chelsea?
Well, talk about a bad beat in the Pirates-Reds game. If you had the Reds in the first 5, the Pirates scored a run in the bottom of the 5th. I was getting ready for this show, and I was like, oh, nice. I'm going to win my Reds first 5 bet. No, definitely didn't, because the Pirates decided to score 1 run in the bottom of the 5th. So I'm staying away from that game. Already got my push, and I'm staying away from that one. Cubs Indians is definitely interesting because both teams are hitting. They have 4 hits for the Cubs and 3 hits for the Indians. They have some hits, just haven't been able to cash in. So I think runs are on the way for both those teams. Obviously, they're not the highest scoring teams, especially the Indians, but I think we'll see some runs coming from the bullpens from both of those teams.
It should be, because I was looking at my card. Like, I usually wake up and I'll open it up and just get like a rough, reference of where I want to go today. And I actually had, circled the Cubs team total and the Cleveland Indians team total for possibilities. Didn't bet either one of them, and it looks like pretty good right now, being 0-0 in the top of the 5th inning with 2 outs, nobody on for the Chicago Cubs at the plate. So sometimes those games that you circle and don't end up firing on, better to win those. Actually, you don't actually win them, but you certainly don't lose them. So, stayed away from those two right here. But why don't we get into today's card? Got an action-packed show to go over here in 30 minutes. But before we do that, almost 100 people watching the show live now. Thank you guys for tuning in. 85,800 people have hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube channel at sportsbookradio.com. Thank you guys for doing that. Turn that notification bell on. So we go live on a Wednesday and talk some Major League Baseball. You get it delivered directly to your inbox, and you can come in here and say hello. Let's get started here right across the. Actually, you know what? I am missing my feed here on this one. So our first game is the Phillies Nationals. We'll go old school. We'll look right at the teleprompter here and try to read off it and not get caught up here like I'm Ron Burgundy. But here we go. Philadelphia versus Washington. Wheeler versus Leicester. 129 is the favorite towards those Philadelphia Phillies who won yesterday over the Nationals. Are we looking for a advanced performance here from Wheeler, bounce back performance, the Phillies offense looking better, or are we going to take a step back and say that crafty lefty and Leicester here going to get the job done? Kyle, we'll start with you first here.
I have a slight lean to the Phillies here, and I'm looking at the first 5 minus 0.5 at plus 100, so we're getting that plus money here. I prefer Wheeler over Leicester. Neither one of these lineups profiles particularly well in this matchup. Of course, you've got Rees and McCutchen and even Bohm here for Philly. And when you sort of look at Washington, Juan Soto can hit guys from either side. He's only 4 of 21 lifetime off of Wheeler. One of those hits is a home run. Castro's had a little bit of success. Of course, Josh Bell, a little bit better versus righties and lefties. But for me, I like Wheeler over Leicester today. I'm not the biggest John Lester guy. And when I see in that first 5 minus 0.5 plus money, I'll take it. Slightly into the Phillies, and I like him first 5.
Here's what I'm looking at in this game, Jason, if we take a look. Because Lester's on the mound. He's been a fade for me over the past couple years. He has a high xFIP, but also doesn't strike out a lot of guys, about 15% of the batters he's facing. Walk percentage a little bit high, about 10% of the batters he's faced have gotten free passes on base. But here's where the rubber meets the road here and where you got to try to project. Horrible numbers coming from Leicester, but check out his weighted on base averages to lefties. 115 to righties, a 312. ISO power numbers to lefties, 0.094 to righties. So this is a matter of he's pitching himself into trouble, but nobody's making him pay for it. Tonight, can the Phillies make him pay for it? Or which way are you looking here, Jason?
Yeah, I agree with Kyle. Phillies minus 125, first 5 on the money line. Instead of taking that minus 0.5, I'm just going to take the push if it's a tie, just in case. But yeah, I think Wheeler back on track. Of course, he went complete game shutout in his last start against the Brewers. That was fantastic. 3 hits, 8 strikeouts, looked really good there. Leicester, so far, he's only pitched in 2 starts so far this season. Came to the Nationals this season, but didn't start the season. Look, he's not the best pitcher. He won't be great. And the Phillies, their offense, they do have some guys that have some quality numbers. Number 1 against lefties, number 2 against Leicester. I think even Harper is batting over 300 against him as a lefty going up against the lefty. So you have a ton of righties. Even Harper is a lefty that can do some damage against Leicester here. Expect Wheeler to be fine. And like Kyle said also, that Wheeler has done well versus Soto, one of the only lefties in the lineup for the Nationals that has really anything going there. So, yeah, I agree. Phillies minus 125, first 5. That's an official play for me. But again, taking the money line instead of the minus 0.5. In case it's a tie, I get the push.
Chelsea, looking at this game, Wheeler to me the better pitcher overall than John Lester, but when you look at some of the way the Philadelphia Phillies games have gone yesterday, 3-0 lead for the Phillies, nobody out, bases loaded. They decide to bring Chase Anderson up. He does make an out. The Phillies don't score in that inning. Then the very next the bottom of the inning, Washington comes up, chases Anderson before he even gets a run, and it looks like the Phillies were on their way to another loss, but somehow rebounding against that Washington bullpen. What's your thoughts on the game tonight between the Phillies and the Nationals here?
Yeah, the Phillies and the Mets are the 2 teams that I have the most trouble trusting. It just seems like they always bite me, but I do like the Phillies in the first 5 just because of the pitching matchup, like everybody said. John Lester, I think a lot of the numbers are a little bit deceiving. As you mentioned, his expected ERA a full point higher than his ERA this season. And also, he's leaving a lot of runners on base. Like you said, he's been pitching himself into trouble. Left on base percentage is 76.9%, second highest over the last 5 years. Normally you don't think of John Lester as a great guy out of the stretch. He's not picking off many runners if you've seen him. some of those footage. Maybe he's gotten better. I just know traditionally that's not his strong suit. And the Phillies do strike out a lot. They're fourth overall in strikeouts. Obviously not a good thing in baseball, but John Lester is not going to strike out a lot of guys. So I think that bodes well for the Phillies here. Less strikeouts, more contact. Let's take the Phillies in the first 5.
There you go. Take a look at the Phillies. And you are right about John Lester. Over the years, I never could understand why guys didn't take like a 30-foot lead from first base, knowing he has a phobia from throwing, and they never used it against him. It's almost like the unwritten code, Chelsea, of baseball. Well, we know he doesn't throw over here, but we don't want to embarrass him by stealing. Get out of here. Should have stolen every single time on John Lester. Let's keep moving here. 9:13, 9:14, 7:10 p.m. up in Boston. How about this name? See, I'm going to pronounce, I've never heard this guy's name before, but I'm going to pronounce it for Kyle because I think I might have it here. Yes. Caprillion, to try to save him. I think it's Caprillion. Going up against Eduardo Rodriguez, who seems to never lose for Boston. Taking a look at this game, 9.5 as a total, 150 as a side for Boston. Are we buying that Rodriguez never loses, Kyle, or are we going with Caprillion?
I mean, a guy making his major league debut who's been okay in a couple relief appearances, and now I'm supposed to take him to beat, the best offense in baseball right now. It's a little bit tough for me. The problem is there's not a ton of value here on Boston. You can get a minus 0.5 at minus 125, so that's getting a better number here, but there's no way until we see what this kid does. Now, we can come up out there and light up the world and surprise everyone, sure, but this Boston offense, especially against righties, they should be able to get it done. Martinez, Bogarts, Devers, whatever the hell people want to call him, etc. I always get the names wrong, even the easy ones, so I'm glad you took Caprillion for me here. Caprillion, whatever the hell it is. So, Caprillion, that's why I need you guys here to help me with these names. But I do like Boston in the first 5 here. I think they get it done, minus 125. I mean, they should win the game, but you're just not getting value there. So the best way I can find value is take this minus 0.5 in the first 5. Take it at minus 125, and you should enjoy the ticket.
I don't bet these games often here, Jason, which is exactly why I picked this out, because some people have differentiating, opinions on whether you should bet a guy in his first career start, what you're actually going to get on him. So let's hear your thoughts on this game tonight between Oakland and Boston.
Yeah, so I did some research on Caprillion. His first start in AAA, 4.2 innings pitched, allowed 2 runs, 8 hits, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. So 8 hits in AAA in 4.2 innings pitched. I think the Red Sox should be able to get some hits in that game. But also Eduardo Rodriguez, like Donnie said, seems like the Red Sox always win those games, but it's not like he pitches gems either.
Yes, correct.
I think the A's can score some runs as well. So I think the over 9 would be the best bet here between both these teams, maybe even going over in the first 5 innings and just kind of, pouring it on Caprillion or whatever, however you say his name. But hey, man, maybe we'll understand his name in a couple weeks. Maybe he'll pitch well. But for now, I would say the over 9 would be the best bet here.
Yep, there you go. Maybe he will make a name for himself, because we're looking at the team total here for the road team, which is the Oakland Athletics, sitting at 4. And Jason brings up a good point. You can win every game you won here, but that doesn't mean you're throwing 7 shutout innings each and every time. We know how well Oakland usually does against lefties. They're going to have a decent lineup out there tonight, stacking right-handed batters. You got 9 at-bats. You're on the road in Boston. Sometimes those do make sense. Chelsea, coming to you in this game. You're up in Boston. Rookie, bright lights are on here in Boston. How are we looking at this game?
Yeah, my husband played in the A's AAA, on the A's AAA team, and we do know Caprillion pretty well. He was a one-time
inside
super
info.
Prospect.
Wow.
If you remember, he was a key piece in that Sonny Gray trade back in 2017. He was the 16th overall pick. So this kid certainly has a high upside. He has great stuff, but he's just been hurt. He's been hurt constantly. It seems like every year he's back on track, and then at spring training he gets hurt. So definitely some high upside for Caprillion. I think the issue is how long they will let him go. When you're talking about guys that are coming off a ton of injuries, the leash is going to be very short. However, I don't know if you guys ever look at this, but some sharp money looks like it is on the A's today, because 28% of the bets are on Oakland, but 58% of the money, which means the big money is on Oakland today. I think that's a big red flag if you like Boston here, seeing all those sharps on Oakland. I'll go with the sharps. I'll take Oakland plus 135. They've been good against lefties. I think if they can score some runs, definitely worth a shot on an underdog there.
It certainly makes sense because there is a couple train of thoughts here where if you are a pitcher with some good stuff, the other team hasn't seen you can get away with maybe 3-4 innings, hand it off to a decent bullpen and try to ride it out. So there are some thoughts that go along with that as well. And also keep in mind, Oakland's a professional team. They got a pretty good lineup here going up against a lefty. We'll see how it plays out tonight, but an interesting one nonetheless. There you go.
Yeah. And their lineup profiles beautifully, as a matter of fact. 6 of the 8 hitters.
Well, yeah, thank you for that.
Drink every time he says
there you go. Yeah, drink every time I say profile. There we go.
9:25, 9:26, 7:20 start Toronto and Atlanta. Nice comeback win for Toronto last night. Ryu, the lefty on the mound, versus Max Fried. Looking at this game, roughly a pick 'em across the board, and I agree with that. Over-under opened up offshore at 8.5, now sitting at 7.5. 7.5 also at most of the New Jersey outlets here as well. Two train of thoughts in this game. Max Fried, who's been terrible to open the year, actually comes back off the DL, had a decent start over his last start, but now coming into a team that's going to be able to stack right-handed batters and usually does well versus lefties. Now, here's also the issue. The Atlanta Braves lineup looks really good, but if you look at it just versus left-handed pitching in 2021, it is a disaster. Kyle, start with you first in this game. How are we looking at it?
Yeah, and I'm seeing Atlanta as a slight favorite, and I think that's wrong. I actually like Toronto here. I love how they profile against Fried here. You've got advantages 47, 39, 65, 34, 40, and 49%. Toronto can smash from the right-hand side, especially against left-handed pitching. Really like the Toronto lineup in DFS today. I don't even mind Ryu. You're getting actually a decent price in him in DFS today as well against Atlanta. So I like Atlanta halftime. I like him full-time. And this game could be a sneaky overplay. I know it's getting scarier and scarier to take overs in these games as you watch. And I'm sure Chelsea's going to have plenty of unders for us today. But I do like Toronto as the slight underdog here. I think they get it done. I'm seeing minus 105 in the first 5 on the money line. I don't mind that either. So give me Toronto and give me them in DFS as well today.
Jason, taking a look at this, because as we know, Max Fried, 500 weighted on base average through 67 batters from the right-hand side, an ISO power number of 310, which is ridiculous. And looking at that lineup for Toronto today, every single batter expected from the right-hand side. What's your thoughts tonight?
Yeah, that's exactly how what you said is correct. Fried's been terrible against righties so far this season. He did come back from an injury, looked pretty good against the Nationals in his last start. Does he go back to what he did previously, or does he pitch like he pitched against the Nationals? The Nationals, of course, are an offense at that time didn't have Soto and really were struggling offensively, just trying to get runners in scoring position and scoring them. So I agree. I like the Blue Jays first 5 minus 105 in this spot. Again, you have Ryu. He'll go as a lefty against the Braves, who are second worst in batting average, and the Tigers are the first worst. So the Braves have really struggled outside of Acuna and Albies for the most part. So I do agree. I like the Blue Jays minus 105 in the first 5.
Bounce back night tonight, Chelsea, for the Braves. Are we looking towards the team from up north in Toronto here?
All right, so I'm not taking a first 5 bet because I definitely got bitten on that one last night. Robbie Ray actually was really good. He had 10 strikeouts, but what do you know? The Blue Jays didn't decide to score until the 6th inning. So I think I'll be taking the Blue Jays in the full game. As everyone said, the Braves have struggled mightily against left-handed pitching. Other than the Tigers, they're the worst in baseball, which is not saying a whole lot. So I do like the Blue Jays here in the full game. And plus, they have the better bullpen. One of the better bullpens in all of baseball. The Braves, you could not say that about their bullpen. So I will go full game and trusting that Blue Jays bullpen a little bit more here. Let's take the Blue Jays in the full game.
Yeah, I thought Toronto's team total would be a decent look yesterday, but not because they would light up the bullpen, because they would light up the starter, which they didn't. So sometimes when you win those games or cap those games, they come out opposite but still put you on the right side here. Before we get to best bets and bankers, an interesting topic that's coming up now in Major League Baseball. Batting average is at an all-time low. Strikeouts at an all-time high. Pitchers throwing harder than ever. And then Major League Baseball says, let's take away the DH in the National League and dumb down the baseball. Something has to change here. And Kyle, I'm going to start with you first. Just a quick opinion on this. Because the way I look at it, did baseball do this on purpose and say it's either a home run or a strikeout for the past couple years? You guys are going to have to relearn how to play baseball fundamentally, steal bases, move the runner along, shorten your swing up. Is that the reason why, or they just made a stupid decision to dumb down the baseball, make the game even slower than what it is, Kyle?
I think they made a stupid decision, and it's that old-timey thought train that baseball has. They are so married and so tied to the old records, and they don't want things to be different that they can't get over themselves. We're talking about a sport here that won't put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame. I mean, give me a freaking break. The best hitter of all time is not in your Hall of Fame. I'm supposed to take you seriously. Now you can't make obvious rule changes that make your game more exciting with the DH in the National League. Stupid decision by baseball, and they're only hurting themselves. It won't shock me in the next couple of years if you see drastic rule changes in baseball, but they got to get over this old-timey mentality or they're going to be lower than hockey. That's just what's going to happen.
Because I know we want to have that nice mix, Jason, right? You want to have, obviously, the strikeouts are fun, the power pitchers are fun, the power hitters are fun, but it seems like it's all or nothing at this point now. And a lot of it has to do with the batting average and putting the ball in play. If you watch the Phillies game last night, I think there were 74 foul balls in that game. Everybody's screaming on the radio. Even though the Phillies won, it was like a 4-hour marathon that never seems to end, and you go to bed in the 7th inning because you got work the next day on a game that's played in the East Coast. Some quick thoughts here on what Major League Baseball is heading towards and how maybe to fix it.
Yeah, like I'm watching the Reds right here. It's a 1-1, 6th inning, and I had the team total of just 3.5 for the Reds. And Donnie and I, when we were on the show last year, when we took 3.5, that cashed at a normal rate. And now we're seeing it's really hard to hit 3.5, which is like you could hit a grand slam and get 4 runs on a single hit, and we can't get that right now. So yeah, it's infuriating. It's pretty ridiculous, and something needs to change in baseball to get more fans involved, really.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Chelsea. Just looking at baseball from a futuristic standpoint and how they can go. I love that. Look, you don't have to juice the baseballs where everybody hits a home run. Your leadoff guy like Brady Anderson is knocking 50 out of the ballpark. I don't need that, but I just need to see a little bit quicker pace. And also, I don't like 10-9 games per se, even though I'm an over better. But it would be nice here that you don't have these games that take so long and end up at like 3-1. It's like, come on, enough of this. Any changes that you would make, Chelsea? I'm looking forward to the future in baseball here.
As someone who loves taking unders, I love all these unders. You can call me the Undertaker because
Pitcher's
I
a
love
husband.
unders.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
That's how
that.
I see the game, through a pitcher's eyes, just because, my husband was a pitcher. So I'm rooting for all the pitchers to do well. But don't pin it on baseball. It's the hitter's approach. All
You're
these
right.
guys are changing their swing to where the launch angle, they're going for home runs. They're not going for base hits. You see the swings like Chris Bryant where, they hit it a mile in the sky half the time, and no one's swinging to get base hits, and they're having some terrible hacks. If you watch some of these at-bats, terrible at-bats on 2 strikes. Some of these guys just, the pitch selection is terrible, so don't pin it on baseball. I think it's the approach, and no one cares if their batting average is low if they have the home runs. And that's just the way today's culture is, because, you see the little videos on your timeline and they blow up on Twitter. That's what guys are going for, and I wouldn't pin it on baseball. What I will pin on baseball is the extra inning rule. Don't put a runner on second until at least the 11th inning.
No,
that is a terrible rule, right?
Love that rule. I love it. It's my favorite thing
We are
about baseball.
overbackers. We absolutely love.
Yes,
You know
that's
what?
all
Next
I
year,
care
Chelsea, I went first, second, and third. Bases loaded.
No.
Nobody else to start the 11th.
That's it. That's it.
No, it's
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting rule changes, but Chelsea brings up a really good point here because it is how these guys get paid. How many times are you coming up through Little League, through high school, through college, or whatever? Hey, 2 strikes on, choke up at the plate, anything close to the plate, just put it in play.
Does
It's
that
not
anymore.
played like that. Exactly. The third, when you have an 0-2 count, they are swinging the same as a 1-0 dead red fastball coming right down the middle. It doesn't matter because, again, that's how they get paid. If you somehow change the structure in Major League Baseball and said the highest paid players, the guys that make $50 million a year, if you hit 320 or above, they would all change their approach at the plate because that's what we get them paid in Major League Baseball. It is what it is, but it's a fun topic. I'm glad we're able to spend a couple minutes on that. But let's get to some best bets and bankers here today on the card. Kyle, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not going to take Chelsea's because I know she loves it, but just know when she says it that I wholeheartedly agree and absolutely love it as well. But I'm going to take that Blue Jays first 5 money line minus 105. I think they get it done today. I like how they profile against Fried today. You can do a whole lot worse than that. Fried. Okay, yeah. Minus 105, first 5 money line. I like that. And if you're looking for a little home run prop, even though it's going to go counter to the bet that I do like that Chelsea gives, Nelson Cruz, 5 career home runs off of Keuchel. I like Nelson Cruz for a little home run prop, and even Abreu in the same game. I think both those guys could go yard today.
There you go. And we're also, Jason's going to win this bet and buy himself a background today. Jason, go ahead with your best bets today.
Yeah, so of course, right now I'm on the Reds over 3.5 on the team total. 7th inning right now, and we got 9.5 to play with. It also tied, so maybe extra outs, but that's where the guy on second does help a little bit, especially for the road team, if they can just score some runs there. But again, also on the Phillies, minus 125 in the first 5. That is on the money line, so not minus 0.5. It is minus 125 on the money line in the first 5. Also going to be on the Blue Jays, minus 105 in the first 5 as well. Like Kyle, I like that we're all on this kind of the same page here with the Phillies and the Blue Jays, so that should be lots of fun.
Yeah.
And by the way, we are all gamblers here. And if you hear Jason's, monotone voice today, we are all in the same boat. When we are on a live show and our wager isn't going the way it's supposed to be going, we are all the same way. That's how you know the sweat is real on the show, because we could all be happy-go-lucky losing wagers. You're like, we don't really bet these games or put any effort into it. But the sweat is real here. And this is watching a game where maybe it's not going your direction here. There's still a lot of time left in the ball game, but I do appreciate the originality there that Jason brings to the show, because he's in it with all of us.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get some good runs, or some good vibes here and get those Reds across the line. A beautiful background, Chelsa, by you today, sporting on the show here. Go ahead and give your best bets here.
That's right. Maybe we can all chip in and get him a water.
Send him a jersey behind you. Come
on. Get something.
The Dark Knight, a split screen or something. But yeah, I am on the White Sox in the first 5, minus a half for minus 107, because this is a combination of 2 really strong trends this season. The White Sox are the best team in baseball in the first 5 innings, and they crush lefties. Everyone knows this. In the first 5, White Sox 22-4-7 overall, 10-2-4 at home, and 6-2-2 over their last 10. And then you've got the best starting rotation in baseball. Dallas Keuchel, not Carlos Rodon, but he has been steady, coming off 7 scoreless against the Reds. On the other end, J.A. Happ looks great on paper, 2-0 with a 1.91 ERA, but the numbers look like he is due for some regression. His expected ERA 4.22, and stranding base runners at the highest rate of his 15-year career at 85%, which wouldn't be, that alarming if he had a high strikeout rate, but he doesn't. And then you've got the White Sox crushing lefties. We all know this. 14-0 last season, 7-1 this season. Number 1 OPS against lefties. Let's take the White Sox in the first 5.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see what happens here in that game. I'm going to go ahead now. There's maybe an upgraded chance here. So when you pull through the drive-through and you want to get, supersized or upgraded, here's a chance for us today. I've already bet this game, not for a lot of money, because at least I know I wanted a piece of it. Why? Because I don't have a starting pitcher officially confirmed for the Marlins. The roof's going to be open out in the desert, 90 degrees, ball should be able to fly. Arizona hammers at home. They struggle a little bit on the road, but when they're at home in that desert atmosphere, they hammer away. So I like the over 4.5. You get anywhere between minus 110, minus 105 right now for the Arizona Diamondbacks, but I don't know who the pitcher is. So who would me to come on here and be like, oh man, hammer this play. Donnie, who's the other pitcher? I don't even care who it is. Of course we care who the other pitcher is. I do like Arizona, but if we get a decent pitcher on the mound, or maybe even a lefty on the mound, even to open, we know Arizona hammers away at them. So I'm going to go ahead right now and make a wager on the Arizona Diamondbacks team total to go over 4.5, and follow me on Twitter, because if we upgrade this one to a play of the day, if we get a pitcher that would be advantageous to scoring runs against, which we probably will, might be able to have an upgrade. So good stuff on the diamond tonight as we go. Let's quickly get through the lightning round here today, and we're going to start here with Kyle as we go. San Diego and Colorado, doubleheader. Let's get them right out of the way. Just some quick thoughts on this one. I don't know. Does the whole team for San Diego have COVID? How can you even approach these 2 games?
Yeah, it feels like both those games are under in the first 5. Snell and Darvish dealing for the Padres. Again, they're without Myers. They're going to be without Tatis. Who knows who else is going to be out with COVID so it's hard to trust their lineup even though you want to. So for me, I'm looking at an under 4.5 in the first 5, minus 105 in the Darvish Gray game. I think that's a no-brainer. And then in the Snell-Gomber game, look, you're worried that Gomber implodes against the Padres, but they're losing some of their hitters. So you're getting under 5.5 at minus 125. I think both those make sense. So I'll take the under in the first 5 in both games.
There you go. All right, keep on spinning it around the horn here. Next game up here for you, Jason. Kansas City, Detroit, 9-11-9-12. 147 is a favorite to the road team, Kansas City, who they couldn't lose yesterday, could they, Jason?
Yeah, I expect Duffy to have a great performance. I do think the Royals end up winning this game. I would look at the minus 0.5 in the first 5. Duffy already pitched really well against them once already this season. And Mize has not been too great this year. in the first place. So yeah, give me the Royals minus 0.5 in the first 5 as a lean.
All right, now we're going to give you an A game here, Chelsea. How about this? 9-15, 9-16, Yankees, Tampa Bay. Cole McHugh, strikeouts abound, 7.5 is a total, 7s at most places across the league, or excuse me, across the board here. What are we looking at here in this one?
Finally, you gave me a game
Boom.
that I actually have some information on. I am looking at a Garrett Cole strikeout prop here. As square as it may sound, over 9.5 strikeouts at, I think, minus 125. You look at this Rays team, and they've been an absolute cash cow for strikeout props. You look at some of the pitchers they've faced lately. Ohtani got a strikeout prop with 7. Heaney got 10 strikeouts on Thursday, I believe. Manaea had 10. And then Jordan Montgomery last night had 8 through just 4 innings of work. Garrett Cole has had double-digit strikeouts in 3 of his last 5 starts, and he's actually coming off one where he only had 4. So I think the number is a little better because he had that off performance in his last one. Let me take Garrett Cole strikeout prop against this Rays team that strikes out the most in all of baseball.
There you go. St. Louis, Milwaukee here, Kyle. Gant versus Woodruff. Now, the interesting part here is Woodruff's been a really good pitcher. Gant has a high xFIP, but sort of dancing in and out of trouble. The problem here is Milwaukee. Can they get enough runs to win this game as we set it up? Minus 194 towards Milwaukee. Not a great-looking lineup in here. Is this a spot that you would look towards the opposite side and say, whoa, I'm not going against Woodruff here, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to go against Woodruff, and this could be a sneaky nerfy spot as well. Not that Gant is a world beater or anything here, but that Milwaukee lineup is really, really bad. A couple guys profiled pretty nicely. Travis Shaw, Billy McKinney. But did I get something else wrong? Did I mess it up?
I said drink.
Profile.
Drink.
Oh, drink. Oh, yes, because I profile. Yeah, every time I profile, you guys will be hammered by the end of the show. Yep, there we go. Drink it up. So this one's a little bit tough for me. I think this plays to the under. I'm going to channel my inner Chelsea here and take the under 7.5.
Oh.
And a little bit lean to the no runs first inning in this one.
Kyle, you're taking either you're drinking alcohol or lean over there, Kyle. So how about that? So let's keep moving down the list as we go. Minnesota and the Chicago White Sox. Happen, Keuchel, 2 lefties on the mound. Quick thoughts, Jason, on this game.
Yeah, I think the over 8 is the way to go. 2 lefties, 2 lineups that profile well against both lefties. So, yep, go for that over 8. I do agree with the team total overs for both and think that both teams end up scoring some runs.
Maybe an over chance here. The Angels and the Houston Astros. Heaney, the lefty on the mound versus Urquidy for the Houston Astros. Slight favorite, minus 130 towards Houston. Total of 8.5. Angels, yes, Shohei Ohtani was great yesterday. Heaney's been good this year. Urquidy struggled a little bit. Any thoughts on this game down in Houston?
Yeah, I'll take the home team in the Astros. Yeah. The Astros, one of the better teams against lefties. And also, I think they have the edge when it comes to the bullpen. This Angels bullpen has been worked over the past, month or so. Top 5, I believe, in innings pitched, and that's not a good thing. Ohtani finally went deep in a game at least. But I think let's take the Astros here at a pretty solid price at home.
There you go. See if those right-handed bats can stack up here for the Astros. Keep it moving here. Miami and Arizona. Kyle, we'll start with you here. Undecided on the starting pitcher for Miami. A couple different options that they're mulling. And, hey, I don't think that's going to be a great option either way they go. But Zach Allen's on the mound the opposite way. 168 is a favorite for Arizona, playing well at home.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree with you. It looks like Neidert might be the guy tonight for Miami. If that's the case, I'll be all over that Arizona team total, just like you are. I'm looking here if we got anything decent on the first 5. I don't see anything just yet there, but I'm with you. I would lean to Arizona at home especially if it's a righty. I like Arizona's team total quite a bit tonight. Yeah,
we'll see how it plays out here. Last game we'll talk about today, Seattle and the Dodgers, who I guess Jason probably doesn't even want to talk about this game. Dunn versus Urias, 246 is a favorite for the Dodgers. 8 across the board. Dunn, extremely high xFIP here, but actually does well against right-handed batters. What are you looking at? Yeah,
there's enough lefties in that lineup. Of course, Gavin Lux, the lefty, smoked Montero, and I lost my big Mariners wager last night. Should have taken that first 5, got greedy, so that's on me. I certainly apologize on that. But staying away now, I do think Dodgers over 4.5 is a good look. I think the Dodgers offense is starting to come around, and I think that they'll have some momentum coming to this game.
There we go, all around the baseball horn. 32 minutes. So look at that. 4 people on the show, cover the entire board, give out some best bets, bankers, have some fun, and talk some topics about the future of Major League Baseball. Yep, we did it all today on the show, and we want to thank you guys for joining us today. So we will clear the bases, and before we do that, let's go over once again some of the best bets and bankers that we have. Kyle, you're up first. Go ahead.
I like that Blue Jays first 5, -105. I think that makes a ton of sense. And my home run props, just to reiterate, I like in the same game, Abreu, Cruz, I think they can both go yard. Cruz, 5 career home runs off of Keuchel, but I still like the Sox quite a bit, as I'll let Chelsea elaborate on more. Excuse me.
Disrespecting on her name, too. Jason, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm on the Phillies -125 in the first 5, and also the Blue Jays -105 in the first 5, both on money line plays.
All right, we got a runner on base. 2 runners on base, Jason. I'm looking with 1 out for the Reds. Let's not.
We just need a home run. We just need one.
Oh, wait, we got a home run too?
No, we need it.
Just need it.
Oh, darn, man. I was like, man, I'm really.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah.
Speak it into existence. Yes. Chelsea, go ahead there with your plays.
Yeah, White Sox best bet today, especially in the first 5, combining 2 of the hottest trends in baseball. White Sox in the first 5, the best first 5 teams in baseball, 22-4-7 overall. And then you've got the White Sox against a lefty, 21-1 over the past 2 seasons against left-handed pitching. Auto play for me. Let's go White Sox in the full game and the first 5.
There you go. Arizona team total for me already in at 4.5 -105. If once we find out who the pitchers are, we might be getting an upgrade to a play of the day. Thank you guys for joining us here on a Wednesday. We will be back tomorrow on Thursday, 2:30 p.m., covering that entire Major League Baseball card once again. I'm Donnie Seymour. He's Kyle Purviance, Jason Radowitz, along with Chelsa Messinger. We are sportsbookraeview.com, and this was your Major League Baseball show for Wednesday. Good luck on those wagers.